Alright, who's auditioning next?
Man, I can't wait to show this director how good I am at acting.
Ephraim, you're trying to become an actor?
I am also here for the purposes described in the above dialogue.
Okay, your turn.
Wow, thanks. So, what am I actually auditioning for?
You're trying to get the role as Red Butler from the epic combination of Red Dawn and Gone with the Wind.
So this is the third dumbest thing I've ever been involved with, and I was in Red Dawn the musical.
Look, I'm gonna be so real with you. If you don't want to do this, then the only other option is to get the two other people who you just talked to and do a try-up on the video Nicholas did on you a while back. You know, the one where he defends Tom McDonald and Ben Shapiro.
I mean, I guess I'm fine with doing that, although I also need to make sure the other two are.
Ephraim, this was literally just an elaborate setup to get you to do this try-up.
I meant Temporal Times commentary. That is a thing which is occurring.
So for context, a political rapper called Tom McDonald released a song with Ben Shapiro on January 26, 2024. Ephraim then covered this song, and in response, a new commentator called Nicholas entered the scene to cover Ephraim's video. As mentioned within the video, this is Nicholas's first commentary, so we will be taking it slightly easier on him than we would normally.
Hey, so I've been noticing within the past year or so, the commentary videos, they've been getting political.
What do you mean by in the last year? The commentary community has always had its political aspects going back to our origins with people like Boomstick545, who made a large number of videos, among other things, debunking the arguments of homophobes. Doodle Tones' commentaries actually began rather political, doing videos on people like Rebel Media and Joshua Fernstein, compared to her modern work where political issues are rarely brought up.
We all know that. And most people within the CC, pretty left-leaning. That's just expected from that kind of community.
What kind of community? A community that does commentaries? What about the act of making commentaries associates it with left-wing politics? I'm already rather confused, and the video just started.
And I've been a viewer for a long time, and a lot of these videos have been kind of annoying, so I just decided to throw my hat in the ring as somewhat of a right-wing voice, if you want to call it that.
Alrighty, now that we're 30 seconds into the video, the presentation of this video is incredibly Z-core. It is this single image, no background looking ass for the entire video. Ultimately, I am making a point that can amount to boo, presentation boring. But suggestions would be using a moving background or, well, a background of any variety. That being said, given the mostly black and white Saw Nicholas, perhaps maybe a more muted color scheme might look good with that. Depending on what you're going for, using multiple images could help. And of course, there's always keyframing, if you want to put the work into that, of course. Though the point is ultimately do anything to make your video look appealing.
Also, out of sheer curiosity, why is your avatar somebody who failed as badly at World War I as Tsar Nicholas II? For that matter, why is your avatar someone whose government was overthrown by Lenin? I'm just saying, if you wanted to pick a Russian leader, why not one who was actually good at governing? Or at least good enough he never had to deal with a successful coup by communists?
So that's basically what this video is about. It's my first video, so probably not that high quality. But not to waste any of you guys' time, this is the guy we'll be covering. I don't actually know how to pronounce his name. Hopefully someone in the comments will tell me.
It's pronounced the Ephraimentator.
It's pronounced Benito Mussolini. Hope this helps!
If anybody watches this video, that is, which is very unlikely. But anyways, he made a video about the Ben Shapiro rap with Tom McDonald.
Why is the screenshot so small? It's actually a tad hard to read, and it doesn't look particularly good scrunched up like this.
Also, I know this is incredibly pedantic, but Tom McDonald had a form E-I-E-I-O as the lead artist, not Ben Sharpencil. Again, minor thing, but still worth pointing out.
And I'll just say this right off the bat, this video actually isn't political at all.
Then why did you mention the political nature of modern commentaries at the start of your video? This is structured so weirdly, especially given you are talking about me responding to a political rap where I make points about the understanding of politics shown by the rapper in question.
To be specific, Facts is a political rap by nature and discusses topics such as transgender and non-binary people, gun laws, the LGBT community and its relationship to society, police funding, racism, stereotyping, BLM, drugs, strippers, rioting, and woke Karens. These are very serious political and socio-political issues. By nature of Ephraim covering these topics and you responding to Ephraim's coverage, your video is political.
Though I do find it pretty silly how he tries to dissect this rap song when most rap songs aren't supposed to be taken very seriously.
Wow, this point kind of sucks to be honest, and I think a lot of it stems from how overgeneralized this really is. Because not only is there a subgenre of hip hop called conscious hip hop that delves into more serious topics, but like look at some of the most streamed hip hop songs because Billboard's metric for what counts as hip hop is a fucking joke. What do you mean Blurred Lines counts? What the fuck? Anyways, looking through some of these, EXO Tour Life is a song that focuses on suicidal ideation and drug use. The same is applicable to Lean With Me from the late Juice WRLD. Humble, actually a whole lot of Kendrick's music can factor as well, as he goes into themes about racism with Blacker the Berry, alcoholism with Swimming Pool's Drink, discussions of transphobia and how he'll learn to accept his uncle for who he is with Auntie Diaries, and so on and so forth. Gangsta's Paradise, with one of the biggest hip-hop songs of the 90s, focuses on the struggle of gang life. Stand from Eminem is a song about an obsessive fan who, after not receiving a letter from Marshall, attempts to kill himself with his pregnant wife in the trunk. I can genuinely go on, but when even artists like fucking Ludacris can make a song about dealing with running away from an abusive home, telling 3 stories of such with Runaway Love, and again, there being a whole ass subgenre that focuses more on serious topics, then your 90% is an over-exaggeration.
By the way, on the note of conscious hip-hop, did you know Tom MacDonald counts? And that's not by my standards, by the way. I didn't just invent this. For example, Rate Your Music, Album of the Year, and while Genius doesn't use conscious hip-hop, it does classify it as politics, and political hip-hop is one of the names conscious hip-hop can go by. And while given some of the tags, it's not necessarily too reliable by itself, Last.fm also having conscious hip-hop shows a consistency of classifications that null and voids your point.
Also, I want to note that you said most rap isn't meant to be taken seriously, but the use of the word most implies that some, albeit a minority, are meant to be taken seriously. Who's to say that this rap isn't in said minority? You do nothing to actually prove this. You just say that most rap falls under this category, a statement you do nothing to actually back up, and which the 2 people here who are actually rap fans find to be a rather nonsensical statement, and therefore assume the rap I'm talking about also does, but that's not how anything works. They call me offensive, controversial. It's only 2 genders, boys and girls. I just want to point out how you begin this rap by saying you're controversial, and then you say something that 65% of Americans agree with, meaning a large chunk of the majority are on your side.
This is a pretty dumb take. Just because an opinion is the majority doesn't mean the opinion isn't controversial.
Yes, it does. That is what the word controversial means. According to Oxford Dictionary, the word is defined as causing a lot of angry public discussion and disagreement. Why would a statement that most people agree with cause a lot of angry public discussion and disagreement?
Small note, but Ephraim's audio is real quiet compared to everyone else. Looking at Ephraim's video, it's a problem there too, but nothing's stopping you from taking Ephraim's audio and making it louder. From this point on, I did fix it for the record.
In 2020, the majority of people voted for Joe Biden. That doesn't mean that supporting Joe Biden isn't controversial.
It's controversial how? You're not showing anything that could point to it being controversial. You're just saying it and then leaving it at that. The burden of proof is on you, my guy.
In fact, it's so controversial in the West to say that there are 2 genders that they literally are making laws to make it illegal to say that in countries like Canada and other places in Western Europe.
Do you have any evidence or examples to back up your claim?
Is this going to be a recurring issue?
Let me pull this bandage off. Okay, now that I've done that, let me answer River's question. Yes, it will. Throughout this entire video, Nicholas shows no screenshots or evidence to back up the points he makes, and it's especially jarring given I know he can show screenshots of things. He did so earlier in the video when he showed both my channel and the video he was covering. Nothing in the description either, so you're left totally confused as to what he is actually talking about if you aren't already in the know, and I'm frequently not in the know despite being the one who is the most political of the three people here.
What do you mean you're the most political? I very much care about the politics of Skibbity Toilet versus the housing crisis of '08.
Politics? What the fuck? Ew!
Also, Canada and other places in Western Europe? Good sir, are you under the impression that Canada is in Western Europe? Because I don't know how to tell you this, Nicholas, but it isn't.
I'm not ashamed because I'm white. If every Caucasian's a bigot, I guess every Muslim's a terrorist. Every liberal is right.
Those two things in no way connect, though. Bigotry is an ideology, while terrorism is an action.
Again, this is another goofy take. The correlation between what he was making is that, oh, you're white, you must be racist, or oh, you're a Muslim, you must be a terrorist, is people assuming things about you. These assumptions usually being made because of negative stereotypes about either the race or the religion. I feel like you understood this and you just put this nitpick in to try to make your video longer.
But my point is that these negative stereotypes did not have the same level of severity. If one believes all white people are racists, they are not assuming all white people are going to commit violent actions, while assuming all Muslims are terrorists does include the presupposition that all people who practice the religion are going to engage in some form of violence. A better comparison would be saying that all white people are in an organization like the Ku Klux Klan, or claiming that all Muslims support violent terrorism, even if they are not terrorists themselves.
Also, it's kind of assumptive of you to assume that the point was made because Ephraim wanted to make the video long, and not because of the more likely factor of him just thinking it was a good point against what Tom was stating.
Also, it's incredibly weird to call this a nitpick. After all, Tom was using this line to draw a comparison, so Ephraim pointing out how the comparison makes little sense based on severity and other differences is a direct response to Tom's point, and calling it a nitpick downplays it since it's not a small or petty issue that Ephraim has.
This ain't rap, this ain't money, cars and clothes. We ain't selling drugs, we ain't gonna overdose. We ain't pushing guns, ain't promoting stripper poles.
You say you're not pushing guns, and yet in the same rap you criticize liberals for being against guns. What exactly are we supposed to take from that other than that you are pro-gun? This doesn't make any sense at all.
It actually does make sense when you find out the context of what he was saying. He wasn't saying pushing guns as in pushing your, right to own one. He's talking about pushing gun violence, which is usually present in most rap songs.
Usually present in most? What the fuck does that even mean? It's usually present most of the time, so a majority of the time it is common? What the fuck are these qualifiers?
I want a singular example. Also, you mentioned he talks about gun violence here and then don't explain that either. This is incredibly bad here because there is a reasonable explanation for how you could say Ephraim strawman Tom. Tom might look like he's talking about pushing guns in general when you isolate this line, but when looking at the full context of the verse, Tom opens it up by saying his song isn't rap, before going on to mention common stereotypes of rap such as the topic of drugs, gun violence, money, and sex. These may come up in gangster rap, but it is worth noting Tom is generalizing here, and this is not representative of rap, or to be honest, even gangster rap as a whole.
Cool, so we are back to you not understanding the topic that's being discussed. Because the thing is, right? It's not that there isn't a point here, because yes, there are cases where hip-hop has flexed the usage of guns. So it's not like I don't see where this point is coming from. But there has been plenty of examples of hip-hop music pointing out how bad it is. PTSD from G Herbo & Co. talks about the post-traumatic stress disorder caused from gun violence, with Chance the Rapper talking about how he had to see someone be shot dead while on his way to a GameStop. While not giving central focus, This Is America from Childish Gambino not only starts with striking visuals of a choir being shot in the music video, but talks about how there is rampant usage of guns in his area. There is also Eminem's Darkness, which was made in response to the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, where by the end of the song, they play news footage describing what happened and where Eminem beforehand admits his worries about the recent shootings. So while yes, there is a point to make about how gun violence can be portrayed in hip-hop, not only do you not delve deeper into the subject than surface level, but the lack of understanding of the discussion is incredibly unnuanced and poor.
No city actually defunded their police force. In fact, the amount of funding police have gotten over the past couple of years has gone up.
This is just such a fucking nerd emoji thing to say. Even if the police didn't actually get defunded, it doesn't change the fact that they wanted it to get defunded and were actively fighting to get them defunded.
Mate, Tom said you defunded the police, now there's no one to protect you. It doesn't matter if people tried, it doesn't matter if people wanted it to happen. The police haven't been defunded and we're still here. They can still protect us as long as we happen to be of no color.
Let's look at the stats. I've got the facts. My money like Lizzo, my pockets are fat.
You see, the joke is that he referenced somebody who is widely seen as overweight and pointed out the fact that they're overweight. Really, Ben? You couldn't think of a single better zinger than that?
Widely seen as fat? I want to know what your definition of fat is, because Lizzo's pretty fucking fat. In every metric that you can measure, she's fat. I don't know why you added that in there.
To make the point that Ben was specifically naming someone who is widely known as an overweight individual, basically I was arguing he picked somebody incredibly obvious to mention in the context of their weight, before criticizing him for not going with something more original.
Thing is, there could have been a point made against Efron here. Because no, what Ben was saying wasn't just to make a fat joke about Lizzo, but to use said fat joke to flex about his wealth. Which, yes, is still a fat joke at the end of the day, and Ben Shapiro's a dork-ass loser, but it wasn't just a fat joke.
This has nothing to do with Nicholas's point, but pre-chorus. This ain't rap, this ain't money, cars and clothes. Ben's verse, my money like Lizzo, my pockets are fat. Really good sticking to that this ain't money bit, Mr. Old McDonald. I wouldn't jab at rap stereotypes if your features are gonna do them themselves.
Dog, it's a yarmulke, homie, no cap. Look at the graphs, look at my charts.
Ben says while holding neither a graph nor a chart. Seriously, they couldn't even get a prop?
I mean, come on, do I even have to say anything? This is just straight up nerd emoji behavior.
Actually, no. You probably should explain what is wrong with Efron's point. Because from all means, while it is a tad pedantic, it ultimately does feel like missed potential to not actually utilize a graph in a music video.
You're blowing money on strippers and cars. You going to prison, I'm on television. Dogs, no one knows who you are. Keep hating on me on the internet. My comment section all woke Karens. And I make racks off compound interest. Y'all live with your parents. Nikki, take some notes. I just did this for fun. All my people download this. Let's get a Billboard #1.
Please clap.
Did Ben actually say anything in this verse outside of that he thinks the people who dislike him are stupid? All while, of course, proclaiming himself epic and asking for this to be a Billboard #1, which, okay, what would that actually accomplish in the end? What was even the point of having Shapiro in this rap in the first place? Seriously, he didn't actually add anything other than he thinks he's cool, which doesn't really add anything to the piece I'm listening to.
Do you remember at the beginning when I said this guy doesn't listen to rap? Well, now it's plain fucking obvious.
Yeah, it was kinda obvious from the start, given I directly fucking said that.
Because he doesn't understand that like 90% of rap songs are just meant to gas yourself up.
Fuck you. Emo rap is a subgenre of rap that fuses the musical styles of rap and hip-hop with the lyrical themes of emo. Notable examples being Juice WRLD, XXXTentacion, and Lil Peep. In fact, even before the genre emerged in the 2010s, critics used the term to describe rappers like Drake, Eminem, and Kanye McFucking West.
Nicholas, do you have any statistics to back up your claim? Also, why exactly would that justify Ben doing it in this song specifically? Other rap songs might do it, I won't deny that, but as I said at the start of the video, I'm not a fan of other rappers, so saying it's fine because it's a common aspect of a genre I don't enjoy fails to make any sense.
I swear to God, I am taking away your percentages and putting them on the highest shelf until you learn to use them properly. Because if the examples I already went over are any indication, then hip hop is more than just flex anthems. It can be about alcoholism, abuse, gang life, depression, trauma, racism, all these things. For someone who acts like Ephraim doesn't understand hip hop, you yourself aren't making a compelling case either.
To answer your question why Ben's there, it's because he's a famous conservative who talks fast. Not to mention, it's kind of ironic because Ben Shapiro has that one tweet where he says that rap music isn't even real music.
That wasn't what Ephraim meant by his point. Ephraim was referring to why Ben was in the song in terms of the song himself, because outside of the posturing, Ben's feature doesn't really add much to the song. In Ephraim's eyes, while he understands the behind the scene context of it all, he doesn't feel there was a need for him to be on a song if all he was doing is just a flex. Anyways, the video wraps up and I might as well give final thoughts. The main issue that lies with this video is a lack of understanding of the medium of hip hop. For the record, there is nothing wrong with not caring about hip hop. It's perfectly valid, and as long as you aren't putting others down for liking it, then I say it's chill. There also isn't a problem with talking about the medium even if you do dislike it. Ephraim's commentary on Tom MacDonald is pretty solid despite Ephraim not really caring for the genre. So it can be done. The issue, however, is how overgeneralized a lot of your points are. Treating hip hop as this genre that never tackles serious issues and is just flex music, which given a song in discussion, it immediately destroys your own point. If you want to talk about hip hop again for a commentary, it's best to double check if your claims hold merit. Look more into hip hop than just the surface level, and I can assure you there will be a more nuanced conversation to have. This is your first commentary after all, and hopefully what I say can help you for future projects.
My final thoughts are that Tom MacDonald is a bad rapper and tiny bugs have been entering through your face holes. They are now probing at your brain and controlling your every move.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the Soviet Union was created.